dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It's the most stressful game of the year. Dong, ding, dong. With the Ravens coming to town and all Niners fans screaming, I have no other rhymes. Because it's the most stressful game of the year. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another filthy casual preview of another San Francisco 49ers game. And I hope you enjoyed that very horrible rendition of the most wonderful time of the year, or the Christmas song, whatever. Happy Christmas Eve, ladies and gentlemen. But nonetheless, as I try to collect myself, yes, it is perhaps the most stressful game of the year. At least, maybe I'm looking too negatively or maybe too pessimistically into this game. Well, why do I say that? Well, as you can tell by one of the failed lyrics of my little song there, we're playing perhaps the best team in the AFC right now in the Baltimore Ravens. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. The San Francisco 49ers have a very big showdown on Christmas night, and that is none other than the Baltimore Ravens, who are perhaps the best team in the AFC. So this is going to be a big battle between the two teams, the best of the best of both conferences. Both teams are the number one seeds in the AFC, in both the NFC and the AFC, and both of them are trying to stay that way. So it's going to be a Christmas treat for some and maybe a Christmas nightmare for all of us, depending on how you look at it. Certainly for me, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice to watch football on a Christmas day, but when it's your team, maybe depend if they win, it could be a present, but if they lose, oh man, it's gonna really sour on my Christmas. But nonetheless, I'm gonna not try to let it sour if that does happen, but hopefully we'll talk about it as we get into it actually. But nonetheless, yeah, on a more serious note, yeah, this is gonna be a big showdown between these two teams. Battle between top offense, one of the top defenses, and vice versa. Like, these two teams kind of complement each other in more ways than one. You have a uber dynamic mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson, and sure, Brock Purdy is not mobile or dynamic himself, but he can make plays in pretty much every way, shape you can. Plus, with the supporting cast that both of them have, minus the Ravens, who lost their top receiver, Mark Andrews, they still have a pretty foundational supporting cast around them. It's just a matter of, can they utilize it? That's the thing. And defensively, they have one of the top defenses, if not the top defense in the NFL. Sure, you can say the Cleveland Browns, but for the Ravens, they are finding ways to produce on their own, especially in that front four. Same can be said for San Francisco, and especially in their front four and in the secondary as well. So it's going to be an even keel battle between these two teams in Santa Clara on Monday night. So looking back at the week that was for both of these teams, for the Baltimore Ravens, they used their biggest strength on offense, at least for right now, and that was their rushing attack to get by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the land of all elite. So they scared away Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars 23-7 in that game on Sunday night, and they claimed their ticket to the playoffs after they made it last year, but they didn't get far. So now that they have Lamar Jackson again, they hopefully will try to make it to the big dance and get a little bit further this time around. So yeah, they used their rushing attack of Gus Edwards, Lamar Jackson, as well as Keenan Mitchell, but more on him in a bit, as well as their fearless front four defensively to get by the Jaguars. Meanwhile, for my San Francisco 49ers, they were dealing with some injuries on the defensive front, notably Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave, and they struggled on the run defense, so they missed them sorely last week in Arizona, so they had to ask for more from Brock Purdy in the offense, and, well, they pretty much got it. They pretty much answered the call, as Purdy had a 4-touchdown homecoming in his home state to give his team the NFC West in a 45-29 correction runaway over Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. So Brock Purdy continues to make a really good case for himself. I mean, for the MVP, but I don't think, let's be honest, I don't think he really cares about all that stuff. He wants to win what he set out to do pretty much last year, and that was, well, the big one, the really big one. And, well, same thing with Christian McCaffrey and the others, as well, on the opposite side as well, Lamar Jackson and them. So, yeah, it's another interesting case. You know, both of these teams both of these quarterbacks vying for the MVP, but at the end of the day, they don't really care. They don't really care for it. So it's just a matter of, yeah, these are all nice and stuff, but it's just like, we just want to go win the big one. Just want to go win the one that's down there in Vegas in February. So looking at the playoff watch for both of these teams, like I said, the Ravens clinched their ticket to the postseason last week with their win versus the Jaguars. They do have an opportunity to seal up the AFC North this week, but they're going to need some help from Case Keenum and the Houston Texans the day prior. They played the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. I'm not sure if that's gonna work out for them, but hey, you never know with football nowadays. Anything can happen in the world of football. So they're going to be playing Joe Flacco and the Browns. So who knows if the Texans will be in the favor of the football gods. So either way, they could seal up the AFC North if they not only win, but if they get some help from the Houston Texans a day prior. Meanwhile, the 49ers, it's pretty much basically from here on out. They already wrapped up the division. They already have their playoff spot sealed. It's all about getting the number one seed in the NFC. It's pretty much trying to seal that thing up and getting some much needed rest because, man, they got a couple beat up people on defense and a little bit some on offense as well because, yeah, every time that they want to make a good playoff run, man, you know, the injury mania just decides to hit us in the ass sometimes. So they actually can clinch the top seed on Christmas, but they're going to need a lot of help on Christmas Eve. They're going to need the Christmas spirit from up above. They're going to need some good Christmas, Christmas gifts in the form of the Miami Dolphins, the Minnesota Vikings, and the New York Giants, all whom face the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Eagles all this weekend. So if they can get some help from all those three teams, especially the Giants, and as long as they take care of their own business, who knows? Maybe they'll take the top seed by Christmas. But I'm not saying much. I'm not saying they will, but you never know. Just as long as they win these last two games, they'll have that number one seed locked up. At least two of the three games, they'll have that number one seed locked up. In terms of the injury report for both of these teams, for the Ravens, they come in relatively healthy for this game. No major outs or questionables going in, but they did lose one of their key players last week in Jacksonville. Sure, they got the win, but it came at a price because their explosive rookie running back, Keaton Mitchell, he suffered a season-ending torn ACL, actually. So, that running game that had already lost J.K. Dobbins earlier in the season to a torn Achilles is now down another man in Keaton Mitchell. So that's a blow to their running game. They did sign Melvin Gordon, the veteran, to the practice squad, but he clearly not as explosive as he was, not clearly as dynamic as he was in his days with the Broncos and the Chargers. So, yeah, it's kind of a blow to that Ravens rushing attack that's going to be leaning heavily towards Gus Edwards and Justice Hill and now Lamar Jackson. They're probably going to ask Lamar Jackson to run even more. So, meanwhile, for Baltimore, I probably didn't mention this already. They're already down Lamar Jackson's go-to tight end, Mark Andrews, who suffered a season-ending ankle injury back in Week 10 when they played the Bengals. But, I mean, their fill-in option, Isaiah Likely, he has played very nicely in this place. So, I mean, yes, Lamar Jackson would like to have Mark Andrews be playing right now, but I don't think they could complain so much because Isaiah Likely has likely done a nice job being that step-in guy that can help out the offense. So for the 49ers, unfortunately, They're going to have to manage to go through this game without their top run stopper, Eric Armstead. He's out of this game with the foot injury that's still nagging him, according to Kyle Shanahan, more than an injury. And, it's concerning. Is he going to be able to come back at all, any point this season, at all, let alone the playoffs? So it's a little concerning, which makes getting that number 1 seed very important for San Francisco. But in some positive news, hopefully, Javon Hargrave, the other defensive tackle, is listed as questionable. He did return to practice in limited fashion, so hopefully he will be able to play in this very, very important game to assist the running defense, assist Javon Kinlaw, and the other guy trying to step in for Eric Armstead, because we saw what happened in Arizona where they got gashed on the ground, and this Ravens rushing defense, even without Keen Mitchell and J.K. Dobbins, it could still kill the 49ers on the ground. And then third down receiver Juwan Jennings has also been ruled out with a concussion. So, great. Some of the injuries are going to be very key in this game against the Baltimore Ravens. So in terms of the keys to victory for both of these teams, for the Ravens, they have to find a way to limit the explosive plays of Brock Purdy. Basically, that starts with the pass rush. That fearsome four of Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen and all those good people, Justin Madubike and Odafe Awehe. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So they all start up at the front four, finding ways to pressure up Brock Purdy, forcing him to make some errant throws. And then in the secondary, with Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stephens, and then Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone in the middle. They have to do all they can to try and minimize all the weapons that Brock Purdy has at his disposal. You got to find a way to cover up Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and whoever else they got. So you got to find a way to limit the big, explosive 10-plus yard, 20-plus yard plays that Brock Purdy always likes to go to. And then offensively, not sure why they're not going down passing it more to the receivers. I mean, I get it. Tight end Isaiah Likely has been the preferred go-to target for Lamar Jackson, because Lamar and tight ends have been a special connection, especially with Mark Andrews. And the running game has been humming, but at some point the receiving game has to really start picking up again, because I feel like ever since Mark Andrews has been put on IR, I feel like the receiving game has been very up and down. Just look at last week's game against Jacksonville, but I get it. I mean, they didn't really need him much, but against opponents like San Francisco, you're going to really need your receivers to step up. Zay Flowers, one of their top targets before being up and down during this stretch, he was targeted just once last week. Meanwhile, Rashad Bateman has always been on and off the radar after his first rookie year, which is kind of disappointing, So, you still have Odell Beckham there, but he's not getting any younger as well as healthier. So the Ravens at some point need to get their receivers more involved, especially Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman on those passing downs. And then for my 49ers, find ways to limit the explosive rushing game of Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson, especially Lamar Jackson. So it's going to be very tough without Eric Armstead in the lineup. Sure, you're possibly getting Javon Hargrave back, but it's not going to be enough to limit Lamar and Gus, the bus. So it would be a much different story if both of them were there, but it's still not going to be enough. So Hargrave and Javon Kinlaw, they got to protect the inside gaps, while on the outside runs, pretty much everybody on the defensive line has to do all they can to protect the line of scrimmage. Make the running game run into a wall, especially against Lamar Jackson on the run. For some whatever reason, they always have difficulty against mobile quarterbacks, but they got to find a way to be that wall on the line of scrimmage in the running game. And then offensively, Brock Purdy has to get rid of that ball really quick against a strong and fearsome front four. Because, like I said, that quartet has been really good. They've done really well at getting to the quarterback. That's why for a reason they're in the top 3, if not top 2, alongside with the Browns in terms of getting sacks, pressure, all that good stuff. So it's imperative for Brock Purdy in order to outlast this very tough defense, at least on paper, and on film, he has to recognize the pressure right away and get whatever pass that he wants, be it an explosive or a simple 10-yard gain. He's got to get rid of that football very fast, like on the money, to whoever he wants, be it Debo, Ayuk, whatever. So he cannot be holding on to that ball for too long. So this is going to be a very tough game for San Francisco, probably their last toughest game of the season, unless they somehow they drop this game and now they have to play the Rams in the final game of the regular season with the top seed on the line. So it's going to be a very tough game regardless, probably their toughest one yet. I know I say that a lot. I said that already with the Cowboys and the Eagles, and we all know how that turned out. But I feel like with the Ravens, these are 2 of the best teams in the NFL. And this is, I know people are saying, oh, this is going to be a preview to February. But let's pump the brakes here. This is a Christmas night matchup between 2 of the best teams in the NFL that are fighting for bragging rights, that are fighting to maintain their hold on playoff positioning right now. It's just all that is right now, at least in my mind. But in the end, it's going to be a very stressful Christmas night as we're trying to eat, as I'm trying to eat dinner with my fam and trying to get through presents and all that. Yeah. Some Christmas, huh? Some Christmas as a Niners fan. But I'll get through it. I'll try to get through it. And if you're watching this game with your fam and opening presents too, and you're a Niners fan, well, hopefully you will too. But anyway, that's my thoughts. That is my preview for this upcoming San Francisco 49ers game against the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas night. Let me know your thoughts on this game coming up in just a few short hours, which is basically tomorrow night, in the comments below. And go Niners. Hopefully we get the Christmas gift of not only a win, but maybe some help from the Giants, some help from the Vikings, and some help from the Dolphins tomorrow. Some big, but probably not so possible help. But hey, anything can happen. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this upcoming game. And as always, keep the lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until the next one, peace out.